Guess who's back again. Hi guys, it's Amma Chang. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long hiatus of almost a year. Almost back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Guys, I'm so happy being back in the channel. And I have some very exciting ideas coming your way. So let's get right into it. Well, I was recently in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and there's so many things that I learned that I wish I knew earlier. And I was like, wait a minute, this would be selfish if I kept all this info to myself. So, for those who don't know, one of its main economy activities is tourism. And before we get into the 7 things that you need to know before going to Dubai, I have to tell you, Dubai is made out of 80% expatriates. So you can tell that how it's really into promoting foreigners and tourists coming in and living or visiting. First things first, visa. There are some countries that require visa before arriving. Emirates didn't allow my boyfriend to travel because he didn't have his visa. And just like after a few hours, he had it. So it would have been possible to fly, and by the time we reached there, to have your visa. But apparently, the rules have changed and the system has changed. So apparently nowadays you need to log in your visa code or something before. I mean, the Emirates attendants need to log in the visa code before boarding. So that's very important. Sometimes you might do things in a rush and think, okay, by the time that I arrive there, I'd have my visa. But I'd suggest, just for to avoid any inconveniences, make sure you have your visa intact way beforehand. So by the time that you're traveling, it'll be easy to just travel and enjoy your holiday. Second thing is the culture. So Dubai is one of the cities that constitutes the United Arab Emirates. So there are about 7, if I'm not mistaken, other cities, Abu Dhabi and the likes, that, and Abu Dhabi is the capital city, that makes constitutes the United Arab Emirates, and it's Islamic city. So it's very important to observe the culture once you're there. So there's some things that I noticed. For example, there's a day that me and my boyfriend climbed the metro, and we noticed that there are actually compartments that are only for women and children, and the men stand somewhere else. So those are things that you really need to consider. But she's like, excuse me, you're in the women and children compartment. So they're like, okay, oops. So it's very important to notice such cultures, and there's some things that you really can't do freely or extremely in that regards. And that's the whole point of travel, and that's the whole point of being a global citizen. Because what's the whole point of bringing what you're used to and not learning of the place that you're going to? And I believe that's what travel's meant to do to you, being the global citizen and knowing what others are doing, the culture in other areas, and respecting and trying to, adhere to them while at least you're there. So third thing is alcohol. Yep. So if you like your liquor, like me, it's important to know that it's not the easiest thing to get alcohol like randomly in Dubai. Alcohol is sold in hotels and the likes of that, which is obviously pricey, but you can't like maybe find a liquor store just everywhere and anywhere, because it's alcohol is very much regulated. So only hotels and a few people actually have license to sell alcohol. So I would advise, maybe if you're traveling in, you can get it easily at duty free, so you can have your stock inside, or you can go to some shops like in Deira, you can get liquor store. But at the same time, even if you go to such places, a friend of mine told me it's like the digits, like it's as if you're going to buy crack or something, the way it's so discreet. And something else that I noticed, and I wish somebody told me, public indecency. If you're there for a vacation or if you're going there with your boo or your man, it's very important to be careful and not to go to that extent of PDA. So you can hold hands, you can hug, but you wouldn't typically find people kissing in the streets or walking around very intimately in the mall. So it's something that you need to really be careful about. And apparently, you can even get arrested. So you might want to save those kisses and those PDA to non-PDA areas. And for me, because I'm from Tanzania, it's not as if we have PDA anyways. It's not something that's very common where I'm at. So I could get along with it just fine. But it's very important if you're from other countries whereby it's normal, to walk around and kiss your man in the middle of the street and whatnot. I think you might need to tone down on that in cases you want to get arrested and stuff. So be careful on that of your attire. So I'll give you guys an incident. I was in a hotel and I had my bikini on, and I actually had a wrap up, a cover up, and I'll show you a picture. But then I was taking pictures and whatnot, the gram gotta know. But yeah, and I was just enjoying the beach and the hotel because it was really pretty. And somebody actually came up to me, one of the people at the hotel, and he was like, "Ma'am, can you please cover up?" I was like, "Okay, okay, I will." So I just had to, even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, everybody here is in their swimsuit. I didn't get it. So, but I had to cover up. Sometimes you just want to avoid trouble and you don't want something to mess your holiday if you can actually avoid it. So you can wear like skirts, but it depends on the area. And I can also give an incident. I booked a dinner at some hotel, and we were actually told don't wear shorts. Don't wear shorts for girls or boys. So you're not. So you can encounter such kind of situations. But you can wear short stuff at the beach, but it depends. I think they just don't want it very open. And for my swimsuit was kind of maybe a little bit very open because my butt cheeks were out there. Important to look into the aspect of attire because sometimes it can, constitute as public indecency or something of that sort, and you don't want that. Working hours. Something else is working hours. And I think it's the whole point of promoting tourism. So most of the shops are open till like 2 in the morning, even in the malls till at 1 1 in the morning, 1 a.m., in the morning or at night, whatever you perceive it as. So it's very convenient if you want to shop, if you want to go out and eat. Most of the shops actually work until late, which is a good thing. But then because it's a Muslim city, you'd find that most shops close early on Friday but work on Sunday. So in most countries, Sundays, most shops don't, at least in Tanzania, where I'm from, most shops don't open. But for them, it's actually the opposite. On Friday, they'd close early, and then on Sundays, they'd actually open. So it's important to consider that because sometimes you might think that, oh, it's Friday, I'll go shop at maybe at 2 in the afternoon. But at that time, most shops will be closed because Friday is actually a prayer day in Islam or in the Muslim culture. So it's important also to consider that. Lastly, the transportation. Wow. As a tourist, you go somewhere, the first thing that comes into your mind is that all you have to use are taxis. But then I wish I knew earlier because by the time that I noticed how the transportation system is so good in Dubai, I was already like 2-3 days in. The transportation system is amazing. They have the metro, and they have the bus, and they also have Uber taxi, and they also have their own local Uber called Kareem, if I'm not mistaken. And their Uber is so good because it's like luxury. It's like an Lexus. Most Ubers are like Lexus cars, and that's not even the VIP type of Uber. So the transportation system is so good. Immediately from the airport, you can get the metro, and it's very comfortable. It's very safe. For example, I stayed in 2 hotels. The first one was in downtown, which is like near town and near most of the tourist attractions like the Dubai Mall, the Burj Khalifa, and the likes. But then for my second hotel, I went to the Palm Jumeirah, which is a little bit farther from town. and I could actually connect a metro and then a tram. It was so easy to connect, and it's very comfortable. Of course, there are peak hours where people would be many and you'd probably miss a seat, but then otherwise it's quick, and you can really avoid traffic using a metro, and avoid a lot of and save a lot of time and money. So I would advise anybody to look at all these options, even when you're picking your hotel, even when you're picking places that you're staying, your Airbnb or the likes. Maybe consider such things like, is it near the metro, is it near here, because it can easily get you from one place to another. And mind you, the tourist attraction areas are very far from each other, so you'd find that Deira is far from Burj Khalifa, far from the Miracle Garden, far from, so everything is far from each other. So you need to look at, okay, what's the best way? Because you want to save time, you want to save money, you want to save your energy. You don't want to go to a place and you're just running around from one place to another. Most of the time that is wasted is on transport or getting from point A to point B. So I think it's something that you need to consider. The transportation system is really, really good. Yeah, I think that's about it. Those are the main things that I noticed, that I thought, hey, let me just share this with my people, so that you guys are plugged before you get there. So the visa, the transportation, the culture, the public indecency, working hours, these are things that you really need to be alert before you go, and you can plan around it. I hope you enjoyed my video. This will just be the part 1, so there's part 2 and part 3 coming. So tune in, make sure you subscribe if you're new here. If you're still here, make sure you're still plugged in and push the bell button up here, I think. And yes, bye bye for now.